Ever stood over a bathroom sink watching the water just sit there, barely moving, and thought to yourself, I am not paying a plumber $200 for this? You're absolutely right. You shouldn't have to. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the complete process of unclogging any drain in your home, whether it's a kitchen sink, a bathroom sink, a shower, or a tub. We're going from the easiest fix all the way up to snaking the line like a professional. And stick around to the end because I've got a simple monthly trick that keeps clogs from ever coming back in the first place. Let's get into it. Unclogging a drain is one of those skills that every homeowner needs in their back pocket. And honestly, once you understand what's causing the blockage and you follow the right steps in the right order, this is something you can handle yourself about 95% of the time. So let's start by understanding how clogs actually form in the first place. Most people think a clog happens all at once, like something big just got stuck, but that's actually pretty rare. What really happens is a slow buildup over weeks or even months. In the kitchen is grease. You rinse a greasy pan. That grease goes down warm and liquid, but as it cools inside your pipes, it hardens and sticks to the walls. Over time, food particles, soap residue, and more grease layer on top of each other until the opening inside your pipe gets narrower and narrower. In the bathroom, it's hair and soap scum doing the same thing. Hair wraps around the drain stopper or the crossbars inside the drain, and soap scum acts like glue holding it all together. Understanding this matters because it tells you something important. Most clogs aren't a single object you need to punch through. They're a buildup you need to break apart and flush away. That's exactly what we're going to do. The first thing you want to do before you grab any tools is figure out what kind of clog you're dealing with, because that tells you where to start. If you've got a slow drain, meaning the water does eventually go down, but it takes a while, that's usually a partial blockage close to the drain opening. Good news, that's the easiest kind to fix, and will probably knock it out in the first step or two. If you've got a complete blockage where the water just sits there and doesn't move at all, that's a more serious buildup, usually deeper in the pipe or down in the P-trap. We'll get to that. Now here's the big one. If multiple drains in your house are backing up at the same time, stop right there. That's not a simple clog. That's likely a main sewer line issue, and that one you do want a professional for. But if it's just one drain giving you trouble, you're in the right place. Let's talk about what you're going to need. Before we get our hands dirty, let's gather everything up front so you're not running back and forth to the garage. Here's what I recommend having on hand. A good pair of channel lock pliers, about 10 inches, is a great all-purpose size. A flat head screwdriver, a cup-style plunger for sinks, which is the standard kind with the flat bottom, not the flange-style toilet plunger, a small bucket or a plastic basin that fits under your sink, some old towels you don't mind getting messy, a flashlight, because under the sink is always darker than you'd expect, dish soap, the regular kind, nothing fancy, and if you want to be fully prepared, a 25-foot hand-cranked drain snake, sometimes called a drum auger. You can pick one up at any hardware store for about $20 to $30, and it'll last you for years. Now, you might not need every one of these items, but having them ready means you won't lose your momentum once you get going. By the way, If you're finding this advice helpful, you should know it's just a small sample of what I've put into my new guide, The Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It's packed with step-by-step instructions for hundreds of repairs that can save you thousands. To grab your copy, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or just use the first link in the description below. All right, let's continue. We're going to start with the simplest method first. And honestly, this one works more often than people expect. Boil a full kettle or a large pot of water. While that's heating up, squirt a generous amount of dish soap directly down the drain. I'm talking about a good 2 to 3 tablespoons. Let it sit for about 5 minutes. The dish soap works its way down and starts breaking the bond between the grease and the pipe walls. Once your water is at a full boil, pour it slowly and steadily straight down the drain. Don't dump it all at once. A slow, steady pour gives the hot water time to melt through the grease, while the soap emulsifies it, meaning it breaks the grease into tiny particles that can wash away. Now, one important thing. If you have PVC drain pipes, which are the white plastic ones, don't use boiling water. Use the hottest water your tap will produce instead. Boiling water can soften PVC joints over time. If you've got metal drain pipes, boiling is perfectly fine. Wait about 2 minutes after pouring and see if the water starts draining faster. If it does, repeat the process one more time to clear out whatever's left. For a slow drain caused by grease, this alone does the trick probably 60% of the time. If the hot water flush didn't solve it, it's time for the plunger. And I have to tell you, most people use a plunger wrong, which is why they think plungers don't work. Here's the right way. First, if you're working on a bathroom sink, you need to plug the overflow hole. That's the small opening near the top of the sink bowl. Stuff a wet rag in there nice and tight. If you don't seal that hole, all the pressure you create with the plunger just escapes right out the overflow, and you accomplish nothing. Next, make sure there's enough water in the sink to cover the bottom of the plunger cup completely. You need water, not air, because water doesn't compress. That's what creates the hydraulic force that actually moves the clog. Now place your cup plunger flat over the drain opening and make sure you've got a good seal all the way around. Here's where technique matters. Push down slowly and firmly, then pull up sharply. The pulling action is actually more important than the pushing. You're trying to pull the clog back toward you, breaking it loose from where it's stuck. Do this about 15 to 20 times in a steady rhythm. Slow, push down, sharp, pull up. After 15 or 20 pumps, pull the plunger away and see if the water starts to swirl down. If you see it draining, run hot water for a full 2 minutes to flush everything through. If it's still sitting there, don't get discouraged. We've got 2 more methods, and they go deeper. Once you've got the bucket and towels positioned under your sink, let's go after the P-trap. That's the curved section of pipe directly below your drain. It's shaped like the letter U or P, and it's designed to hold a small amount of water that blocks sewer gases from coming up into your home. But it's also the #1 spot where clogs collect. Look under your sink and you'll see the P-trap connected with slip nuts on both ends. These are the large plastic or chrome nuts you can usually loosen by hand. If they're stuck, that's where your channel lock pliers come in. Place your bucket directly underneath. because the moment you loosen that second nut, the water and whatever's clogging the trap is coming out. Slowly unthread both slip nuts and carefully lower the P-trap down into the bucket. Now, look inside. 9 times out of 10, you're going to find a nasty clump of hair, soap scum, grease, or some combination of all three packed right in that curve. Take it outside, clean it out thoroughly with an old brush or rag, and rinse it with a garden hose. While the trap is off, shine your flashlight up into the pipe that goes into the wall, which is called the branch drain. If you can see buildup in there, use a long screwdriver handle or a stiff bottle brush to loosen it up. Reassemble the P-trap by hand tightening the slip nuts first, then snug them with your channel locks. Don't over-tighten, especially on plastic. A quarter turn past hand tight is plenty. If you clean the P-trap and the drain is still not flowing, the clog is deeper in the pipe, and it's time to bring out the drain snake. This is where a 25-foot hand-crank drum auger really earns its keep. Remove the P-trap again so you have a clear opening into the wall pipe. Feed the end of the snake cable into that opening. Turn the crank handle clockwise as you push the cable forward. You'll feel some resistance as the cable navigates bends in the pipe. And that's normal. Keep steady. Even pressure. When you hit the clog, you'll feel a definite change. The cable will feel like it's biting into something soft, or it might suddenly get much harder to turn. When that happens, keep cranking clockwise while pushing gently forward. The coiled end of the snake is designed to either bore through the clog or grab onto it so you can pull it out. Once you feel the cable break through, which you'll know because the resistance suddenly drops, crank the cable back out slowly. Check the end. You'll usually find debris wrapped around the coil, which confirms you hit the clog. Run the snake through one more time to make sure the path is completely clear. Then reassemble your P-trap and get ready to test. With everything put back together, open your faucet to a full stream and let the water run for 2 solid minutes. Watch the drain carefully. The water should swirl down smoothly with no hesitation and no backing up. Once you've confirmed it's flowing, fill the sink all the way to the top and then pull the stopper. This gives you a large volume of water rushing down at once, which is the real stress test. If it drains quickly and completely, congratulations. You just saved yourself a service call. While you're at it, get under the sink with your flashlight and check every connection point on the P-trap for drips. Run your finger along the bottom of each slip nut. If you feel any moisture at all, snug that nut just a tiny bit more. Let's talk about a few common problems that can trip people up. First, if your plunger won't form a seal on the drain, try applying a thin ring of petroleum jelly around the rim of the plunger cup. That gives you an airtight seal every time. Second, if your P-trap slip nuts are completely frozen and won't budge, try spraying them with a penetrating lubricant. Let it soak for 10 minutes, and then try again with your channel locks. Third, if you run the snake and it keeps hitting something hard that you can't get past, you might be hitting a pipe joint or a fitting, not the clog. Pull back a few inches, give the cable a quarter turn, and try feeding it forward again at a slightly different angle. Fourth, if the drain clears but starts slowing down again within a week or two, that tells you there's buildup further down the line that you didn't reach. That's when you might want to consider renting a 50-foot power auger from your local tool rental shop. Or it might be time to call in a pro for a camera inspection. Now, for that bonus tip I promised you at the beginning. Once you've got your drain running clear, here's how you keep it that way for good. Once a month, pour about half a cup of baking soda down the drain, follow it with 1 cup of plain white vinegar, and let it fizz and bubble for 15 minutes. Then flush it with the hottest water your tap will produce for about 60 seconds. That fizzing action gently loosens any early buildup before it has a chance to become a real clog. I've been doing this in my own home for years, and I can tell you, I haven't had a clogged drain in longer than I can remember. It costs pennies, takes about 2 minutes, and it saves you from ever having to pull apart a P-trap on a Saturday morning. Think of it like changing the oil in your car. A little preventive maintenance goes a long way. Before you go, I want to make sure you know about my complete guide, the Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It goes way deeper than we can in a single video, with 85 pages covering everything from clearing any clog to replacing your own water heater. If you want to stop wasting money on simple fixes, this book is for you. Just scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to get your copy. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.